Hello and welcome back to an episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben. Following the discovery of the Ringgate system, Kleist Ashford could have simply relaxed on Medina Station. But alas, men like Ashford cannot sit back and waste away their days knitting sweaters. Nope, if they're going to die, they'd rather it be by the hands of their enemies than by the hands of time. Kleist Ashford was also committed to ensuring a prosperous and peaceful future for the Belt, and this meant wiping out those Belter factions who aren't willing to cooperate with the newfound alliance between Earth, Mars, and the Belt, and who on the contrary want to destroy it. So Ashford set out in his gunship, the OPAS Tynan, on a mission to help establish the Belt as a legitimate and cooperative sovereign power in the Sol system. And today we are going to examine the features of this ship. Now, some suspect that the OPAS Tynan was originally an MCRN ship before the Belters non-consensually borrowed it. Nonetheless, they directed it into good use, using it for anti-piracy operations. Ashford the pirate now commanded a ship dedicated to taking out pirates. I'm not sure how big the Tynan is, but I'm guessing it's somewhere within the range of other ships in the Expanse. It's a few dozen meters long, and its weight is easily thrust through the void with the power of an Epstein drive. The Tynan's bridge is super sweet to look at because colors. It's dimly lit like a pool hall and has lots of consoles, screens, and buttons. Actually, the best part about the Tynan is that when it's docked on Medina Station, Ashford stays aboard and uses it as a man cave. He just chills, gets drunk, watches home movies, and yeah, probably fires the PDCs at Space Geese for fun. You know you're all jealous of the gunship man cave. It's super hard to pinpoint exactly where along the line of technological development the Tynan actually is. The bridge simply sends mixed messages. I mean, the first thing you notice is that it's got buttons. Lots and lots of buttons, all which in some way are used to operate the array of screens that line the outside wall of the bridge. Now, when we did the video on the UNN Agatha King, I mentioned how the bridge, or CIC, on that ship was kind of antiquated because it had all these buttons and switches on big bulky consoles rather than sleek intuitive touchscreens. And I stand by my claim that the King was a bit of a dilapidated ship and that its bridge layout was inefficient. However, some of you made the point that there are reasons that make physical buttons and switches superior to touchscreens, and that's a good point. The Tynan's physical buttons seem to work very fluidly with the more advanced technology on the bridge and allow for fast and reliable operation. But the Tynan really does have a lot of damn buttons. And it's even crazier considering how small Ashford's command crew was. Just a few Belters had to know how to operate so many different things. Though it's possible many of the buttons were not often used or were only used when the bridge was in Disco Club mode. Still, the Tynan does not lack capable technology. As we said, there are screens that line the outer wall of the bridge. Lots and lots of screens. So many that when I saw Kamina Drummer recording a communication while watching herself on one of the screens, I started to wonder if they went a little overboard. What's interesting about the screens on the Tynan's bridge is that rather than each console having one screen that shows different information on different parts of it, crew members sit in front of multiple screens, each with a dedicated complementary function. On its various consoles, the Tynan employs a dual screen setup, which features one screen that displays an image or video, and another that displays textual information related to the image in view. I don't necessarily think this hints at any sort of older tech. Even in today's world, our computer screens can compartmentalize information. I think the multi-screen setup was a functional choice in some way. One or two of the Tynan's consoles are actually operated by keyboard, as we saw in the Agatha King as well. The Tynan has a communications console for intra-system video interfacing and a console dedicated to monitoring space, and not just space around the Tynan either. This console can bring up video of ships around the system. We know that such ships are tracked by massive radar sweeps, but I imagine it's probes of some sort that pick up the video itself, though if you know better, let us know in the comments below. Anyway, both of these consoles are operated by keyboard, and I do think this is a sign of an older ship because even though, as we said, there are advantages to physical inputs, when we see inside the most advanced MCRN ships, there are no keyboards. They use only touchscreens. If you hadn't noticed yet, by the way, if the Tynan does anything best, it would be its chairs. I mean, how fitting that the man cave ship has gamer chairs. Moving in from the outer wall, you'll notice that the bridge, while colorful, is pretty bare bones. Wires and tubes hang down from the ceiling because why cover them? In any case, letting them hang is a better use of space. There's also two tanks that sit somewhat awkwardly on the bridge, and though I'm not sure, I believe these provide oxygen inside the ship. Either that or fog for the disco. Moving in from the outer wall, we get to the center platform. Here, Ashford himself has a chair he sits in from which he can control and command operations. The bridge is compact and free of obstructions, so it's fairly easy for him to interact with everyone in the bridge right from his seat. He can pull down a screen from overhead that operates by touch and is seemingly capable of pretty universal functionality. Ashford can use the screen to track and target enemy ships, and then use a joystick to operate the Tynan's 2 PDCs, just like he's playing a video game. Man cave. The ship has a torpedo bay as well, and when in battle mode, while Ashford handles the weapons, a crew member at a long console on the wall in front of him uses a steering wheel-like device to maneuver the ship. On the Rocinante, Alex will often handle both the piloting and weapons duties, whereas on the Tynan, these responsibilities are split. And this might have to do with a disparity in technological advancement, but then again, not everybody has an Alex. Along with its weapons, the Tynan also has grapplers it can use to pull in objects floating in space, and then of course it has breaching pods it can deploy for boarding operations. Though along with the Tynan, those breaching pods are floating somewhere in space now. Now you might have noticed that there's actually one part of the outer wall of the bridge just ahead of the center platform that has no crew member seated in front of it. These screens are not just for show though, they're actually operated by the captain. Most of the time they just monitor the health of the ship and provide other status data. But we actually see Ashford use the big screen to display footage of a destroyed enemy ship, and at one point he uses his joystick to track objects in the wreckage. This is one aspect of the bridge that I don't really understand. I mean, the screen seems kind of hard to see from his position. It's too far away and too small. I also would assume he could just use his overhead screen instead. I mean, have you ever tried to play video games on a big screen TV from more than 10 feet away? It's not easy, and that's basically what Ashford is doing here. Now, admittedly, I might be missing something, but this seems to me to be one of the weaker parts of the layout. Finally, as you might have noticed, the Tynan doesn't have the traditional center table console that other ships of its time do. However, the captain does have a small console in front of him, and where it might not have universal functionality, it is capable of projecting a 3D interactive map, as the table consoles on other ships can. As is standard, the map can display different layouts of the Sol system and is operated by hand movements. The captain can zoom in on parts of the map, and as we've seen before as well, he can actually grab objects from the map and toss them to other crew members so they can plug the information into their own computers. This is basically the physical transfer of computer-stored information without the need of any sort of memory card. Beyond the bridge of the ship, we don't get to see much else that's inside. There's one small, mostly empty room that abuts the bridge, which is used to store a few things and to imprison captured enemies, and there's another bigger, mostly empty room we see that's also used to store a few things, and that's also used to imprison captured enemies. I'm actually kind of surprised they don't just have a dedicated cell block aboard, but alas, it seems Belters will handcuff their prisoners to just about anything. We also know that the ship's airlock is situated in a way that the crew can stand above it, as opposed to the Rocinante, Doniger, Behemoth, and other ships. I suppose it's more fun to space people from below you rather than from on your level. A final humiliation and dehumanization before death. Anyway, that's the OPS Tynan. It's a relatively new ship to us, so if you have further information, let us know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a like. Remember to subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell. For now, my name is American Ben, and I'll catch you next time. Generation Films, peace.